Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. Senators and all in attendance will please stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Dr. Dwight Riddick Sr., Gethsemane Baptist Church, Newport News, Virginia. Following the prayer, all will please remain standing and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America by Senate Page Summer Allwood of Springfield.
Almighty and everlasting God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift and blessings of this day. We're grateful for the privilege to serve, and we honor the leaders of our great state who have been chosen to represent all Virginians. We ask that your divine presence will guide our Lieutenant Governor and the members of the Senate as they go about the work that has been assigned to their hands. Anoint each senator and their staff afresh and renew their strength day by day as they navigate these challenging and arduous times. More than ever, we stand in need of capable and competent leadership. Bless those who gather within these walls with prudence and foresight. May your grace and your wisdom permeate every conversation and decision. Fill hearts and minds with love and compassion, that empathy may be exercised with all citizens from every walk of life across this Commonwealth. Give these your servants eyes to see themselves and others as you see them. Give them ears to hear each other, as the greater good for all must be the common goal of their daily work. May the words of the prophet Amos ring true in this season, but let justice run down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Bless us, and we shall be blessed. Keep us, and we shall be kept. Unite us, and we shall stand together. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll. All those in attendance will please record your vote aye.
Senator Peake, how do you vote?
We don't.
Well, try to pull it back.
The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Wednesday, January 12, 2022.
Senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 2.
Ayes 36, noes 2. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The clerk will report any communication from His Excellency the Governor.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time in the morning hour, we will recognize our guests who are with us today. But first, I'd see the Senator from James City County, Senator Norment. Did you wish to be recognized?
Mr. President, if I may briefly interrupt the flow of business, and thank you, sir, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Senator. You have the floor.
I would respectfully move that the rules of the Senate be suspended to allow a senator affected by COVID to participate remotely and electronically for the day. I would further respectfully ask that the journal reflect that the physical absence of Senator Peake is away on pressing and important business, but he will be participating remotely.
Thank you, Senator. The journal will so reflect, and the question is, shall the rules be amended to allow a senator to participate remotely who has been impacted by COVID-19? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The motion is agreed to. And now comes the time in the morning hour where we have the honor and the privilege of welcoming our guests with us here in the Senate gallery. I would remind everyone that the way this will typically proceed is that a senator will stand up and recognize an individual or group. I will then offer the warm welcome of the Senate. At the very end, we will all applaud together. I'd like to begin by calling on the senator from Hampton, Senator Lott.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask if we could give the warm welcome of the Senate to the individual who gave the invocation this morning. It's Bishop Dwight Riddick Sr. of Gethsemane Baptist Church in Newport News. He's accompanied in the gallery by his wife, Vera. So again, if you could give both of them the warm welcome of the Senate, I would appreciate it.
Thanks, Senator. Would Reverend Dr. Dwight Riddick Sr. and Vera Riddick please rise in the gallery if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today from Gethsemane and Newport News. We are grateful for your leadership. We appreciate so much the tone you set with that beautiful prayer and all that you do to make our Commonwealth such a wonderful place to live. I would ask everyone to please join me and extend the warmest welcome of the Senate to Reverend Dr. Dwight Riddick Sr. and to Ms. Vera Riddick. Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy New Year, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator. Happy New Year.
Mr. President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, in the gallery today, we have superintendents from the Virginia Golf Course Superintendents Association joining us on the Capitol from all across Virginia. These men and women are truly scientists, Mr. President. Their day starts before the sun ever comes up every morning. And we were talking two of them. One manages grasses in Western Virginia, one in Williamsburg, and it's two entirely different disciplines. Water management, runoff, water control, nutrient management, taking care with the fertilizers. These men and women really do a great job for our environment every day, Mr. President. I'm also proud that their president, Jeff Whitmire, has joined us, and he is the superintendent at the Williamsburg Golf Club. Mr. President, I play rounds at another facility in Williamsburg, and I can tell you that all the superintendents have to work hard to keep up with Mr. Whitmire and the way he keeps the condition of his golf course. So, Mr. President, I hope you will take the opportunity to give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our friends and leaders from the Virginia Golf Course Superintendents Association please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We echo the kind and generous words of Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason. We appreciate your tremendous leadership and adding so much here to the Commonwealth of Virginia. It is both a recreation and something that adds tremendously to our economy that we benefit from all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, the work that you do. So I would ask everyone to please join me and extend the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders and friends from the Virginia Golf Course Superintendents Association. Call on the Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, Senator.
It's great to see you, sir.
Great to see you as always.
Mr. President, I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, sitting in our gallery today is someone who is very special to me and to members of my firm. She's an associate attorney with the Stanley Law Group, a graduate of Liberty University, both in undergraduate and in law school. She has an incredible legal mind. She was here today covering me in arguing a case in federal court in a criminal case, and she did a great job along with my law partner, Tony Troy, the former Virginia Attorney General. We're always proud of her and everything she does. She is loved by every single member of my firm and its staff, and she is especially loved by my wife, who thinks that she hung the moon. And so if you would, Mr. President, this is her first visit to the Capitol and to the Senate chamber. Extend to her the warmest welcome of the Senate. I would most appreciate it. She sure is worth it. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the Senator. Would Autumn Johnson please rise in the gallery if you are able? Autumn, welcome to the Senate. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We echo the generous words of your law partner, Bill Stanley. Thank you for your leadership in the law. Congratulations on your arguments today in federal court. We know that you will have tremendous success in your legal career, and you're welcome back here anytime. I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friend Autumn Johnson. Do any other senators wish to be recognized in the morning hour? Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, resolutions, petitions, and bills are now in order. Chair recognizes the Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke, for the purpose of presenting the committee nominations report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have sent to the clerk's desk the committee's nominations report on the Senate standing committees, which I would like to be placed before the Senate.
I thank the Senator. As those are being passed out, the clerk will read the report.
On the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources, Peterson, Chair. Hanger, Ruff, Obenshain, Stewart, Marsden, Stanley, Lewis, Suderline, Mason, McClellan, Favola, Morrissey, Hashmi, and Hackworth. Local Government, Lewis, Chair. Hanger, Stanley, Favola, D-Stuff, Donovan, McPike, Howell, Spruill, Morrissey, Bell, Hashmi, Kiggins, Reeves, and Hackworth. Privileges and Elections, Deeds, Chair. Howell, Vogel, Reeves, Eben, Ruff, Spruill, Peake, McDougall, Serville, Mason, McClellan, Boysko, Bell, and Hackworth. Rehabilitation and Social Services, Favola, Chair. Hanger, Locke, McDougall, Reeves, Cosgrove, Serville, D-Stuff, McPike, Spruill, Mason, Boysko, Morrissey, Kiggins, and Pillion. Transportation, Marsden, Chair. Newman, Favola, Cosgrove, D-Stuff, Suderline, McClellan, Peake, Boysko, Obenshain, Evans, Serville, McPike, Spruill, and Pillion.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The chair recognizes the Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the committee nominations report be adopted.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the report be adopted? All in favor of adoption of the report will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? All the senators voted. Do any senator desire to change their vote?
Senator Peake, how do you vote?
Peake votes aye. Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 1.
Ayes 39, noes 1. The committee nominations report is adopted. The clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Thursday, January 13, 2022. Memorial resolutions.
Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
Mr. President, I move that the memorial resolutions on pages 1 through 2, that's SJR 2 through 23, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding that any senator desiring to remove a resolution from the block will do so after the clerk has read the title of the resolution.
Thank you, Senator. Question is, shall the memorial resolutions on pages 1 through 2, Senate Joint Resolution 2 through Senate Joint Resolution 23, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding that any senator desiring resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the title of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the titles of the memorial resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 2, celebrating the life of George Millard Harvey, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 4, celebrating the life of Thomas S. Hardy. Senate Joint Resolution 8, celebrating the life of the Honorable Arthur R. Geeson, Jr.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that that resolution be removed from the block.
Thank the Senator. Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 8 will be removed from the block.
Senate Joint Resolution 15, celebrating the life of Kenneth Richard Lane. Senate Joint Resolution 16, celebrating the life of Stephen Clark Crandall. Senate Joint Resolution 17, celebrating the life of Jack Moore Horn. Senate Joint Resolution 21.
Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. President. Over here. I don't know who that was.
Okay. So who wants to go first? Senator from Accomack, Senator Lewis.
Mr. President, I was just going to move that it go by for the day. I think there are several of us that would like to sign on to that one.
Mr. President, since it's my resolution, I was going to ask that it be pulled from the block by for the day and ask all the members to please sign on to the resolution for Secretary Murphy.
Thank the Senator. Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 21 will be removed from the block and go by for the day.
Senate Joint Resolution 22, celebrating the life of Carl Fletcher Flemmer, Jr. Senate Joint Resolution 23, celebrating the life of Barbara Pratt Willis.
The resolutions will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolutions will please rise. The resolutions are agreed to.
Commending resolutions. Sorry, we need to return to page 1, Senate Joint Resolution 8.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the resolution be agreed to. I'd like to speak briefly to that.
Senator's the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. Many of you perhaps were aware, some perhaps not, that our colleague from the House of Delegates, A.R. Pete Geeson, passed away last year. And he was a friend. He was certainly my friend and a mentor and a friend to many of you here. He went back a long ways as far as his relationship here in the Capitol. You could say that he had politics in his blood as a Republican. His mother was elected to the House of Delegates from Radford back in a day when women didn't do that kind of thing. He also was a childhood friend of former Governor John Dalton, a good friend of Linwood Holton, and served in a time initially, the senior senator from Fairfax may have been here at that time when Caldwell Butler was here. And so he had deep roots within that. He and I were good friends. He supported me right from the get-go when I became involved in Republican Party politics. Although he was a little bit a higher level than I, but he really befriended me. He was a graduate of Harvard and Yale. And I never aspired to those institutions, but certainly he did, and came to Augusta County as a businessman in the steel business. But I would share with you that he was a dedicated public servant that on many occasions basically put his political service above his business. And I certainly respected him for that and remember his involvement in supporting me. One incident I would point out that early on in my involvement in the House of Delegates, many of you all that go back a ways, when we were over last night, they've embraced new technology. Did y'all notice that? They were slow to get there, but they have new technology now. When I served there initially, they had these old machines where if you wanted to continue voting when you went to the bathroom or you weren't there, you just propped a book up against the key, and that machine would let you keep on voting. Well, I had more of a propensity to lock it in a no-vote position when I left my desk. Well, and I didn't pay attention to the board. Well, Pete came over after several votes on one occasion and said, "Emmett, you're messing up here big time. You're supposed to watch the board and follow my lead, and you're not voting like I'm voting." Well, that's some advice that I should have taken back then and didn't take, actually, to this day, that I don't watch the board, and I probably would have saved myself some trouble if I'd have learned that lesson long ago. But at any rate, Pete and I became good friends. He was viewed as a moderate in those days, and there were very few like him. Republicans in general were reviewed as moderates, more conservative at times than many of our Democrat colleagues, but they were about good governance, and Pete certainly was about good governance. So after he left here, he became a professor on a part-time basis at JMU and really enjoyed that. And you may recall, he brought his class down here every year and really enjoyed sharing the antics of the General Assembly with his classes. So, Mr. President, I again ask for passage of this resolution.
Thank the Senator. The resolution will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolution will please rise. The resolution is agreed to.
Commending resolutions.
Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Sasslaw.
Mr. President, I move the commending resolution on page 2, that's SJR 6 through 18, be considered in a block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolutions with the understanding that any senator desiring to remove one from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the commending resolutions on page 3, SJR 6 through SJR 18, be considered in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolutions with the understanding that any senator desiring resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the numbers of the resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolutions 6, 9, 18.
Mr. President, Surville.
Oh, sorry. Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Afternoon, Mr. President. Could Senate Joint Resolution number 6 go by for the day so a co-sponsor form can come back from another part of this building?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 6 will go by for the day. Question is, shall the commending... Okay. Oh, sorry. Senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also respectfully ask Senate Joint Resolution 9 come out of the block and go by for the day for others to sign on.
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 9 will come out of the block and go by for the day. Question is, shall Senate Joint Resolution 18 be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Is it? Okay. We'll now move on to House Joint Resolution 81. Being procedural, the resolution will be taken up for immediate consideration. The clerk will report the resolution.
House Joint Resolution number 81, establishing an inaugural committee. Resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that an inaugural committee be established. The committee shall be composed of 16 members of the Senate, one of whom shall be the President pro tempore of the Senate, and the remainder of whom shall be appointed by the President pro tempore of the Senate, and 26 members of the House of Delegates, one of whom shall be the Speaker of the House of Delegates, and the remainder of whom shall be appointed by the Speaker of the House of Delegates. The committee shall make suitable plans and arrangements for the reception and induction into their respective offices of the governor-elect, the lieutenant governor-elect, and the attorney general-elect.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
I would move that the resolution be agreed to.
Question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, will inform the House of Delegates of the action of the Senate.
Are they over?
Chair recognizes the senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to announce that the following have been named pursuant to HJR 81 to serve as the inaugural committee on the part of the Senate. Myself as President pro tempore, Richard L. Saslaw, Thomas K. Norman Jr., Emmett W. Hanger Jr., Stephen D. Newman, John S. Edwards, Frank M. Ruff Jr., R. Cree Deeds, Mark D. Obenchain, Mamie E. Locke, Ryan T. McDougall, J. Chapman Peterson, George L. Barker, Jill Holtzman Vogel, Richard H. Stewart, and David W. Marsden.
The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
Mr. President, I require the clerk, does that complete the calendar for today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for an announcement.
Senator's the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, first of all, I want to mark the fact that last night marked the 20th straight State of the Commonwealth address in which my name was not mentioned. I think that's a kind of unbelievable streak, and I intend to keep it going for a few more years. Secondly, I want to announce that tonight is the Virginia Agribusiness Dinner, which will be at Main Street Station starting at 5:30. There's a happy hour, and I believe the seating dinner starts around 6:45. You will have food and beverages and all kinds of culinary delights from all over the Commonwealth. And I think it's a chance to get together. I know some folks have concerns about safely gathering, but it will be in an enormous venue, so there'll be plenty of space. And as chair of the Agricultural, Conservation, and Natural Resources Committee, I'll be there with my family, and I hope you all can come and look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose is the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey, rise?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning, Senator.
Mr. President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, tomorrow, January 14th, will be the last day that you preside over this august body that I've had the privilege of serving in for the past 2 years. By my count, you've served somewhat close to 1,460 days, and I want to personally thank you for your service as Lieutenant Governor. Since assuming office in January of 2018, you have served this body and the Commonwealth of Virginia with distinction. You've done it with also outstanding temperament, great patience, and I thank you for that. There have been trials and tribulations, and through those trials and tribulations, you managed to conduct the role of your body and presiding over this body with tremendous grace. And I think all of us in the state Senate recognize that. But importantly, you also managed to balance your duties and your executive role with your family duties. Not a lot of people realize this, but every day during the Senate, many of us go next door to a hotel, or if we live close enough to our homes, you drove back and forth 2 hours, or actually 4 hours every day to be with your 2 children and your wife, Karis and Cameron. And when you weren't doing state Senate business, you were taking them to flag football, lacrosse, swimming, soccer, and you managed to balance those roles in stellar fashion. Importantly, the role of Lieutenant Governor is to keep all the trains running on time and on track, and you did this. When I first got here, somebody said to me, and it may have been my colleague, Senator Lewis, he said, everything needs to be said, but not everybody needs to say it. And during some debates, everybody said it, and we ended up in a tie. And it was at that time that you broke the tie, and I think your legacy will be remembered for several of those important votes that you broke, including legalization of marijuana, Medicaid expansion, minimum wage expansion, creating the Virginia Redistricting Commission, and the red flag laws, all of those that eventually became law because of your deciding vote. So, again, thank you for allowing me to share these comments with you and with this body, and I think as the years go on, you will be recognized by both Republicans and Democrats, independents, libertarians, every party as an outstanding governor who served the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator. Very gracious. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Senator, for very kind and generous remarks. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, in spite of those presumptuous accolades that were just shared with you, I don't want you to think that this will be the conclusion of the recognition and the expression of appreciation of your service, and you know very well on a personal level how I feel. But these accolades and the recognition from the appropriate leadership will be shared with you tomorrow, and we are looking forward to sharing that with you, sir.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Thursday, January 13th, Committee on Transportation will meet 1 hour after adjournment, Senate Room A, Pocahontas. This is a time change. So transportation, 1 hour after adjournment. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Public Education will meet 30 minutes after adjournment in Subcommittee Room 2 in Pocahontas. Senators Hashmi, Howe, Locke, Donovan, and Peake. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on K through 12 Education will meet at 3 p.m. in Subcommittee Room 1, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Saslaw, Howell, Norman, Lucas, Newman, and McClellan. Tomorrow, Friday, January 14th, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Capital Outlay will meet at 8 a.m. in Subcommittee Room 1 in Pocahontas. Senators Deeds, Norman, Howell, Saslaw, Hanger, and Locke. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Health Professions will meet at 8:30 a.m., Subcommittee Room 2, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Barker, Saslaw, Newman, Edwards, Lewis, Donovan, Suderline, and Pillion. The Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will meet at 8:30 a.m., Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Democratic Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 2 of the Capitol.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. For what purpose does Senator from Arlington, Senator from Vola rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to confirm that the full Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will, in fact, meet on Friday at 8 a.m. So I'm giving folks a warning. Thank you so much.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, the Chair recognizes the Senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 10 a.m. on tomorrow. 10 a.m.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.